Ahead of the warm spring weekend, the Skagit County Sheriff's Office is alerting the public, saying cold water shock is deadlier than you think. In fact, April is when drownings in the U.S. start to spike, according to the CDC. It's a time of year when water is colder than it appears. They say always wear a life jacket while on the water. When it's cooler temps, layering clothing made from synthetic materials or wool. Understand wind, wave, current, and tide conditions and how they impact ability to control a boat. Be alert and stay vigilant of other boaters. Avoid consuming alcohol and substances, and carry 2 forms of communication that can work while wet, like a whistle to call for help.
But her other measure, House Bill 1903, requiring gun owners to report any stolen or lost firearms within 24 hours, did pass the House floor and is now headed to a Senate committee next week. Other gun bills still alive include House Bill 2021. Main sponsor, Representative Tana Sen. She wants to allow WSP to destroy guns that were illegally owned or used in crimes. Then we have Senate Bill 5444. Senator Javier Valdez is behind this one. It expands the list of places where you cannot openly carry a gun, like zoos, aquariums, transit facilities, and libraries.
Talking about Title 13 RCW, which is the exclusive authority for juvenile dispositions. It breaks down the offenses and the punishment the teen must serve based on their criminal history. Let's focus on gun possessions. State law says local sanctions can include up to 30 days of confinement in detention, up to 12 months of community supervision, up to 150 hours of community restitution, and/or up to a $500 fine.
Looking out, stuck inside the bus.
Oh my God.
He saw 2 Seattle police officers, batons in hand, repeatedly hitting a man they're struggling with.
Police brutality!
D'Anthony never imagined he'd see this, what appears to be the officers kneeling close to the man's neck and back, being this aggressive.
The headlines feel like a broken record. Seattle has one of the highest cost of living in the country. It's a place where you need an annual income of more than $200,000 to comfortably afford a home. Yeah, it's brutal out there. Many question, will my dream of living in the Emerald City ever become a reality?
Those challenges off the field now believed to be a Title IX investigation. According to the timeline laid out by Seattle police detectives, a Seattle Central Community College student made a Title IX complaint against Rogers in November, claiming he brutally raped her. The complaint gets filed around the same time coaches were emailing about taking Rogers off the roster. While the reason for removing Rogers was never written, the detective believes there is a connection between his suspension and her disclosure of the assault. Did the university clear Rogers of the accusations despite a pending investigation just to get him back on the field in time for the big games?
He says he's going to stop by a police officer. He wants a supervisor because he might be getting arrested.
Abuse of power complaints have spiraled into an investigation from Seattle's Office of Police Accountability.
The most heightening point was when the officers started to use and switch bait his words to make it seem as though the bus driver had committed a crime.
I'm stopping you.
For what? What reason? What is the
For the road rage.
There was no road rage.
After watching it over, Nakia Hunter with Washington's Coalition for Police Accountability sure had a lot to say.
Just combative at best.
This is the latest breakdown of new immigration cases filed in Washington state alone. Nearly 20,000 in the 2023 fiscal year and more than 18,400 since October, the beginning of the 2024 fiscal year.
Take a book and see what you like, and I think you'll find yourself coming back for more. Happy Valentine's Day from the Little Free Library of Love.
The Wilcoxons, who will be in attendance, telling Fox 13, 5 months ago, one person's selfish and arrogant choice killed Andrea, Buster, Matilda, and Eloise, permanently destroying our 3 families and sentencing us to a life of pain and sorrow. The burden would be unbearable if not for the selfless and humble choices of so many in this community as they serve and support us.
Saying, let us use this moment as an opportunity to educate ourselves, to engage in meaningful dialogue, and to actively work towards creating a more just and compassionate society.
Across the water, up north in Bellingham, there's a cattle call. Bellingham police warning about cows on the move, on the loose. These two heifers broke out Saturday morning, hoofing it down the roadway. Yeah, they're right there on the pavement by a squad car. As you can see, they've been trotting through traffic. This was near East Sunset Drive and Hannigan Road. Bellingham police officers certainly aren't cowboys. They tried but failed to wrangle the steers. And then at some point over the weekend, the two of them separated. One was seen near the Haggans, close to Alabama Hill. The other in a wooded area close to the sportsplex.
Over the years, Freddie assumed the role of protector, caring for his brothers while his parents worked in the orchards. From a young age, Freddie was being prepared for his future.
I remember I had to miss school some days because I had to go translate for them at a government office.
A big ask for a 9-year-old boy. Freddie was determined. After months of unemployment, his phone rang.
Through her privately funded nonprofit, Andrea took her shopping before dropping her off at Detox. But keeping her family was important for her. Her boyfriend Luke was in jail. The next day, Andrea picked him up, reuniting them and taking them to a sober community house that accepts couples. A breakthrough was made.
Their big ask to legislators were backed up by several law enforcement agencies that call on the Air Support Unit for help. From local departments to Washington State Patrol, even the FBI, they all penned letters to the state to support funding for the new helicopter. And state lawmakers answered the call with a stamp of approval.
According to court documents, Samuel's father didn't know his son had access to guns. Yet social media says otherwise. Detectives found Samuel posing with guns. One of them even had an extended magazine.
Allegations are that the mother is currently using, you said, drugs?
Yes, and alcohol.
This is audio from that hearing.
This order says that the children are to be with you.
The first bill calls on OSPI to create a competitive grant program to increase the physical security of K-12 public school facilities and campuses. It would be known as the School Security and Preparedness Infrastructure Grant Program. The money would pay for safety features like entrance and door security, including panic buttons, fencing, and perimeter security infrastructure. The second bill calls on schools and local law enforcement working together to develop an emergency response system using technology to speed up law enforcement response if the school has an emergency or threat. The technology proposed in the bill includes panic or alert buttons connected to school administration, district staff, and first responders, live video and audio feed with law enforcement and school district, remote control access to doors, and live interactive two-way communications.
On the trail apps, everyone is talking about it. Say goodbye to bright green, one pine, after another is turning gold. And that means Larch Madness has returned.
Policing with kindness and respect is something Seattle Police Interim Chief Sue Rohr has been instilling in officers for more than 11 years now. She still believes our community is safer when police and community are united. It's a lesson her background has only strengthened. She was one of very few women in law enforcement wearing this olive green uniform when she joined the King County Sheriff's Office in 1979. Injured and not being able to fully express yourself.
The airport saw 173 cars stolen. The year before that, there were 71 cars stolen. And before that, the number of stolen cars was in the 40s.
From 2023 in King County shows 60% of 10th graders surveyed felt nervous, anxious, or on edge. In that same grade, more than 45% of students surveyed said they felt unable to stop or control their worrying. 23.5% of local 10th graders feeling depressed.
Since the Seattle preschool program started in 2015, officials estimate as many as 6,300 kids have been prepared for kindergarten, gaining the program national recognition.
So what is a battery energy storage systems, or BESS? Experts say it's the cheapest and fastest way to back up our electrical grid. The batteries charge inside the shipping containers, and during high demand, electricity is dispatched to properties that need it the most, even places out of state. The Clean Energy Transformation Act, signed by Governor Inslee in 2019, is mandating that Washingtonians get electricity from sources that release no greenhouse gas by 2045, and BESS is one way to get there.
City leaders say sites like these are down 30% from 227 in December to just 179 in March. The number of tents is down too, 34% from 523 to 345 during that same time frame.
It says Sheeran would visit his clients bringing sheets of paper soaked in methamphetamine and ketamine, also accused of smuggling cans of chewing tobacco containing drugs. Documents say those drugs, including THC and buprenorphine, were sold by his clients behind bars to other inmates for between $100 and $200. In March 2023, documents say a co-conspirator met with Sheeran in Burien to sneak these clothes to his client for a court hearing with nearly 53 grams of meth hidden in the shoe soles.
Taking to social media saying, "Why was this glossed over?" and denouncing his behavior, saying he should remove himself immediately. A person such as that should not be representing the citizens of Roy.
The actions are treatment and community-based recovery-focused care, overdose reversal medication like naloxone, and fentanyl testing, reduced disproportionality in overdoses, robust, diverse behavioral health workforce, and behavioral health bed and facilities.
Now, the three most popular trails for this in the North Cascades are Cutthroat Pass, the Heather Maple Loop, and then Blue Lake. But if you drive further past these three, there's other large opportunities.
What she didn't need was this. A mix of shock and fury. Emma's moves are swift. The customer's windshield shatters. The aftermath of what Emma says was a 15-minute heated exchange with a regular customer.
B-Town blog shared this petition from Burien police officers complete with 26 signatures, standing behind Chief Bowe. It went on to say if Chief Bowe were removed as chief of police, it would result in immediate transfer for request of countless years of experience.
The 6 ballot initiatives include an income tax ban, removing restrictions on police pursuits, giving parents more rights to review educational materials and receive certain notifications, allowing people to opt out of the state's long-term care coverage, canceling the state's 7% capital gains tax, and repealing the Climate Commitment Act.
In a statement, his office saying, the city has made stopgap investments to respond to immediate student needs and will continue to push the state to increase investments in mental health resources, counselors, and other critical services to ensure the behavioral health and well-being of all Seattle students.
Results show the impact of Boeing workers' total spending in the Linwood-Everett area is $1 billion per year, in North Everett to Arlington at $615 million per year.
She lost her 24-year-old daughter, Samya Stumo, in the MAX 8 crash in Ethiopia minutes after the Boeing aircraft took off with 156 others on board.